I'm K.R.J, welcome to my random channel where I make random videos about things I'm a fan of. I've written Godzilla fanfics on here, I plan to do MHA cosplay someday. However, when I was a teenager I always wanted a FNAF related YouTube channel. I also wrote an insanely long saga of a FNAF fanfic. Oh boy, what a time in my life. Anyway, there's been a few new theories going around lately, and I know everyone is hyped for Ruin, so I thought maybe I'll give it a go. Actually, those trailers came out whilst I was writing this. Now guys, I've noticed a few things in FNAF that I haven't heard anyone else talk about. Granted, I can't be sure of that since I'm not on Reddit and I know that's where a lot of theories are discussed. But usually whenever someone notices something groundbreaking, it usually gets mentioned somewhere on YouTube, or MatPat mentions it. But the stuff I've noticed I haven't heard anywhere. For example, did you know you can actually see the puppet in Sister Location? Did you know that most of the Rockstar animatronics have the same eye colours as the toy animatronics? I'll be going over more stuff I've noticed, questions I have asked, and a story I've put together based on them. So here we go. Now I'm going to start off with my two favourite theories, which I think are pretty solid. And please, no one judge me too harshly for the first one. So to start off with, Springtrap is Michael, not William. Okay, so not only do we have the whole "I'm going to come find you" at the end of Sister Location, Henry states that William is inside Scraptrap, which is a completely different animatronic. Scraptrap has Buck Bunny teeth, Springtrap has human-like teeth. Scraptrap has a square-shaped head, and Springtrap has a round-shaped head. Also, in the graphic novels, the animatronic William Afton dies in also has buck teeth. There are a couple of panels where he has the Springtrap teeth, but you see my point. So here's what I say is going on with Michael. We play as Mikey in Sister Location, where the poor guy gets scooped. His body is taken over by his own sister, Elizabeth. Then when Liz pukes out of Mikey, a mystic force gives him a second chance at life. Who is that mystic force? I'll tell you that later. A couple years later, Mike's dad sends him on a mission. Part of that mission is to destroy any animatronic that stands in his way. Little did Mike suspect that all the spirits in the suits would attack him, thinking he was his father. Like Michael said,
"They thought I was you."
Michael tried to hide in the spring costume, but sadly he got spring-locked. 30 years later, he got a chance to get out, and now he's roaming the wild seeking his revenge. Where is he now? Who knows? Will we ever find out? I hope so. Anyways, now on to my second favourite theory. This one is about the Twisted Sister. Remember when MatPat made that theory that there are multiple souls inside Golden Freddy? I was very excited when he said that because I have always had that exact same theory about Baby. I know she claims she likes to pretend, but she still has that split personality. The first two nights of SL, she's nice and empathetic and sweet, and then kidnapped, and then she goes back to being nice again. Something that's always bothered me about Baby, why does she look so much like this girl from FNAF 4 if she's actually this girl? It annoyed me so much, but then I had an idea. This child is clearly close to the FNAF family. She's invited to the crying child's birthday. She takes joy in scaring him much like Michael does. And she's there when the crying child dies at the end of the game. You know how her text colour is there? How it confused everyone for so long? Most people take this line as something sinister and a kickstarter for Afton making robot children. And whilst that is a possibility, this line might not be as sinister as we think. You're broken. I will put you back together. Think about it. Michael is racked with guilt and heartbroken at what he's done. And what are friends for? What if this line wasn't being said to the crying child? What if it was being said to Mikey? So what if this girl is Michael or Elizabeth's best friend? It would make sense of this line.
Didn't you make her just for me?
So this kid, who I'm going to call Baby Girl, is inside Baby along with Elizabeth. In fact, I think she was in there first. She speaks of the day when Lizzie got snapped up as if she was alive then. There's more evidence that there's two girls inside Baby as well. On the secret last night, we can hear the voices of two little girls.
You have to let me inside the room.
Also, Baby's voice says,
Isn't this why you came here? To be with her again?
to see her again, not to see me again. So yeah guys, 2 girls, 1 robot. One a lost, sad, empathetic soul. The other a crazy, bloodthirsty daddy's girl willing to do anything to be human again. So here's what I think is going on in the last night of Sister Location. Baby girl has a plan to get rid of Elizabeth. She brings Michael to parts and service. She downloads her soul into that little chip we take out of the animatronic, and then sends Elizabeth's body to be destroyed. Little did Baby girl know that Liz had a plan of her own. After Circus Baby was destroyed, she gathered all the animatronic pieces to become Enid, and then used a Funtime Freddy voice mimic and luring tech to trick Michael into the scooping room. We all know the story from there. The other animatronics kick out Elizabeth, and Michael's body gives up. But that mystic force I mentioned earlier, that was Baby girl. She brought Michael his life back. Okay, now that my top 2 theories are out of the way, let's get into my smaller ones. So, the rock stars and the toys. My first impression of the rock stars were, hey, they look just like larger versions of the toys. But then, when we discovered Midnight Motorist, and we see juniors, I had a sudden thought. Wait, what if they're not big versions of the toys? What if the toys are mini versions of them? Then I noticed that the rock stars and the toys had the same eye colours. Except for Chica, but I won't get into how much that annoys me right now. The point is, are the toy animatronics meant to be the children of the Rockstar animatronics? In FNAF 2, the phone guy talks about a sister location, so here's what I'm thinking. At one point, there were Freddy Fazbear's and Freddy Fazbear's Juniors. Another thing about the Rockstars and the Toys guys, Scraptrap is likely to be formerly Rockstar Spring Bonnie. He has his cheek scratched off, but he's clearly the same model as the others, which means there's a Spring Bonnie Jr., whom I believe to be Springtrap himself. Ever notice how much FNAF 2 stuff comes back in FNAF 3? All the Phantoms are from FNAF 2, except for Chica, she hates my theories. All the minigames have FNAF 2 characters. Springtrap knows BB's voice. He crawls through the vents like the toys do. And in my opinion, guys, he looks like he was built to smile just like the other toys. So, Springtrap originally came from the FNAF 2 location. Meaning there's some irony here, folks. William Afton in Rockstar Spring Bonnie, and his son Michael inside Toy Spring Bonnie Jr. I also think that Baby was also in the FNAF 2 location originally, because there's a lot of space in FNAF 2 that we can't see, and she talks about her old location like she wasn't the main attraction. Part of me thinks that the Bite of 87 was Elizabeth, but I'm not sure about that one. One more thing about the Rockstars, guys. Man, I'm giving them a lot of attention. The Rockstars have 5 fingers. You know who else has 5 fingers? The Nightmare animatronics. A bunch of us have theorized that FNAF 4 isn't a nightmare, and these guys are real and equipped with sound illusion discs that we see in the novels. Are the Nightmare animatronics the Rockstars in disguise? I'd say so. They all have the same colour scheme, and they all have square-shaped heads. So guys, the Rockstars and the Nightmares are one and the same. Except Freddy and Foxy, who come from the plushies. I also believe we play as a young Michael in FNAF 4. All that debate in the logbook, the whole confusion on the answer, do you remember the party, it was for me, and then a different it was for me? Most people think of this party as 83, but that's not the only party Freddy Fazbear's has ever thrown, you know.
We have one more event scheduled for tomorrow, a birthday.
Could that party have been for Michael? That's the party where the kids went missing. Another bad birthday in the Afton family. So yes guys, FNAF 4 we play as Mikey, Rockstars are the Nightmares. Moving on, we come to FNAF SL. So guys, the puppet can actually be seen in the sister location. I noticed it on the secret night in this picture of Enid. Can you see it? It's a reflection of the puppet's eye. So why is that important? Well, what is the puppet known for? Give gifts, give life. When else do we see someone give life?
You won't die.
What if Baby Girl and Charlie were working together to fight the Aftons? Maybe the puppet gave Baby Girl that power. We don't know what happened to Baby Girl after that game. Maybe Charlie took her in. In Security Breach, Baby's mask has no life in it. Maybe the puppet has kept her spirit close until Baby Girl wanted to save Michael. Speaking of Michael, next we come up to FNAF 3. What was Michael's mission exactly? Part of his mission was to destroy the 4 animatronics. Which, by the way guys, did you notice that these are the withered animatronics? Sure, it's the FNAF 1 location, but notice that Bonnie is blue and Chica's teeth are showing. In FNAF 1, Bonnie is purple and Chica's teeth are inside. So, what does all this mean? In FNAF 2's end, we find out the old animatronics are going to be brought back. But before the old location had a chance to open, Mikey destroyed them. But who was Michael trying to put back together? We don't see any other animatronics there. Or do we? Notice in the back room there are 3 arcade machines. Where have 3 arcade machines been important before? Princess Quest. It's not clear who the princess is meant to be, but the game's code suggests that it's Cassidy, Golden Freddy. Did William tell Michael to free Cassidy? If so, why? Well, Cassidy is also known as the Vengeful Spirit. She is hell-bent on punishing William for his crimes. Did William know that? Did he want her out of the way? It's a possibility. Moving on to FNAF 6. I don't have much to say about this one, since it's pretty self-explanatory, or at least the ending is. I'd say this game takes place after FNAF 1. The newspapers state that Freddy Fazbear's is going out of business because no one wants to partner with them. So, desperately, the company reached out to local people to continue their franchise, recycling old animatronics and utilities, which is why all that old internet and printer noises can be heard. As for Midnight Motorist, we all know this is the night that Charlie died, but the kid that ran away, I say, is Mikey. The person in the chair is Mother Afton. What's happened here is that Crying Child went to visit his family. The 3 toes point to withered Golden Freddy. With Mikey racked with guilt and going through his nightmares, why wouldn't he follow his little brother? As for who we play as in FNAF 6, well, I don't have any proof of this, but I've always wanted it to be someone from the Silver Eyes trilogy. I would love it if it was John, that would be so cool. But that's all I have to say on FNAF 6. So now we go to, let's call it the era of Glitch Trap, Help Wanted, FNAF AR, and Security Breach. So William is burning in hell. The hell that Cassidy created for him, but suddenly he's scanned back to life into the digital world. He hypnotizes people into doing his bidding, but one person in particular was interesting to him, Vanessa. My first thoughts on Vanessa, guys, was that she was being hypnotized into being Elizabeth. Most people agreed with that or had their own take on it, but then there came Patient 46. This child has an Afton's backstory, but then it turns out they were lying. So I thought, we have Vanessa, what if this child is being hypnotized into being another Afton? There are 3 Afton children after all. This other Afton could possibly either be Michael or Baby Girl. She's either close to or related to the Aftons. But now we see the family in the secret room, back together again. What if this is the plan, guys? What if Glitch Trap is trying to recreate his family? He has Elizabeth back in Vanessa. He has one of his other children back in Patient 46. 2 kids down, 1 to go. Have you chosen one? I have. Gregory. Gregory is the chosen one to replace the Crying Child. With Vanessa, Patient 46, and Gregory, Afton will have all 3 of his children back. I'll be honest, guys, whilst making this theory, I forgot that Vanessa was the one who had a dad named Bill. I thought that 46 had a dad named Bill, so I thought, wait, Vanny is the mother, 46 is Elizabeth, Jeremy is Mike, and Gregory is the Crying Child. Thankfully I went back and listened to the tapes again, otherwise I would have made a big idiot out of myself. Now, the next part of the Glitch Trap era I want to talk about in this part of the video, I want to give full credit to the FNAF channel. Thank you for drawing our attention to the Nightmarion plushies throughout the Pizzaplex. Mr. FNAF, your theory that Charlie is black blew my mind, but if you don't mind, here's my spin on that. Again, full credit to FNAF, definitely check out his channel, but here's my take on it. So, when Afton was scanned into Help Wanted, he wasn't alone. Charlie's spirit came with him, but she needed to take some kind of form. She couldn't create a digital body for herself like Afton did, otherwise she'd be caught. So she decides to link herself into the code of Nightmare On. That's how this character became canon. Charlie had a way to stop Afton. She helped out the tape girl, but sadly it was unsuccessful. So Charlie lay dormant until she came to the Pizzaplex. She then went around giving life to plush versions of herself and some of the security bots to protect any secrets she found, including the old pizzeria. There she found a new form to take, the Blob. Let's take a break from Charlie and talk about Vanny. So, Afton recreated his daughter in Vanessa. Elizabeth was nothing but a faithful child to him. So most likely what's happening with Vanessa is that she knows her dad is down there, in the old location that Henry burnt down. After all the security guards were replaced with staff bots, she was clear to do whatever she wants. So, she hacked the animatronics to clear a path to the FNAF 6 location. But there she found what remained of Scraptrap, Papa Willie, or in Vanessa's point of view, Master. But Scraptrap was way more scrap than she last saw him. Papa needed a new body. That's when she programmed Monty to scrap Glam Bonnie so that she could swipe a new body to put Afton's remains in. At this point, it's been another 30 years. With William only being strong in the digital world, his physical form was now slow and in constant need of power. He didn't have enough remnant. Now, Van Elizabeth needed to create a stronger body. Glamrock Bonnie was only meant to be a temporary body for Afton. The Blob was meant to be his new evil form, mixing up all the robots from the past to create a giant monster, like in the books. He had Funtime Freddy's voice mimic, he had the puppets give life ability, Baby has the concealed claw. All this would make Afton more powerful, plus Vanny was also filling them with agony to make William even stronger. Not only has this happened in the recent books, but it was also part of the original trilogy too. Thankfully, Charlie found it first before it was ready. The souls inside the Blob knew Charlie. They knew she can help them. Of course they would let her in and take over the Blob's body. I definitely think that the Blob is Charlie, you guys. And my biggest key to that is that the Blob attacks in the same way that Nightmare On does on the Halloween DLC for Help Wanted. Speaking of which, you guys, side note, I think the Curse of Dreadbear actually happened. Not Dreadbear himself, of course, but I think Freddy Fazbear's had a Halloween-themed event. We can see all the cutouts from the DLC game in the physical world. Also, Grim Foxy can be seen in Princess Quest, so I think the DLC is meant to be canon, and not just a game within the game like the rest of Hell Wanted is. But back to Security Breach, one more thing I want to say about it. Did anyone else notice that when you swap the voice boxes, Freddy's bow tie gets swapped from black to purple? I think, you guys, that that's a clue. Who else has a purple tie? Golden Freddy. We don't know where Cassidy is at the minute, but who else was in Golden Freddy? The Crying Child. Everyone's saying that Freddy is Michael, but what if Freddy is actually the Crying Child? You know how Freddy got that second wind after breaking down? Where do you think he got that from? Charlie. She gave Freddy life, the Crying Child's life. She could have brought his spirit with her. From what I hear, the two characters inside the Stitch Wraith don't get along. The Stitch Wraith is meant to represent Golden Freddy. So should we assume that Cassidy and the Crying Child don't get along either? I haven't read all the books, but I do plan to someday. And thankfully MatPat often summarizes them. Thank you, sir. So from what little I know is that one soul had more control of Fredbear than the other. Maybe the Crying Child wanting no part in keeping William in that eternal hell. Not because he forgives his father, just because he wants his friends to rest. But they couldn't because of Cassidy. Listen to this.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us.
We've seen Fredbear have two different personalities before. In FNAF World, two Goldies tell us two different things. Was Crying Child the same as Baby Girl? Having to share a body with a ruthless roommate? Anyway, when Freddy is talking about clearing the path, and she brought me here, Then he says, I did not have a choice. Now I do have a choice. Was that him being freed from Vanny's influence by Charlie? I don't have any real evidence that Freddy is the crying child, guys. More than anything else, I just think it would be really sweet if he wanted to protect Gregory because no one protected him on that day. That would be really cute. I'm nearly done here, guys, but before I wrap this up, I want to tell you something I find rather funny. A couple of things I wrote in my fanfic all those years ago that might actually be in the FNAF world. I am not trying to say I predicted FNAF, it just makes me laugh that something I wrote as a weird teenager came back into the plot. So in my fanfic, I wrote that one night William Afton, drunk off his fame and fortune and also just drunk, cheated on his wife. 9 months later, that woman comes up on his doorstep with a baby, claiming it's his. That part I wrote was inspired by The Immortal and the Restless. Will claimed that the baby wasn't his, but regardless, Mrs. Afton, heartbroken, divorced him. Will, being a great businessman that he was able to win full custody of Michael and Elizabeth. Michael and Liz blame the baby for the fact that they're never going to see their mother again. That's why they bullied him. Years later, in the secret tapes of Security Breach, there's mention that Will and his wife divorced and he got custody over the kids. So was I right about that? I also wrote that Will's motivation for killing was because he wanted to punish Michael for what he had done. He wanted to kill Michael's best friends and hide them in plain sight. The 3 other kids who were at the party and baby girl too. So Will had targets, he wasn't killing just for the sake of it. I know better now, but look at this. We know 2 of the kids were named Fritz and Jeremy. Those names occur in FNAF 2, and though it takes place in November, the phone guy greets a co-worker as summer job employees. Teens get summer jobs. I'm guessing in 1983, Mikey and his friends were 12 or younger. 1987, it's been 4 years, and they'd be the age to take summer jobs by then. And someone tampering with the animatronics in that place? Was it Will programming the animatronics to attack Mikey's friends? It's a possibility. So enough of my nonsense, guys. I'm just gonna give my thoughts on what I hope to see in Ruin before I'm finished. Firstly, when this teaser came out and I saw the little girl and Chica, I thought, hey, we had a father-son relationship with Greg and Papa Bear. Are we gonna get a mother-daughter relationship with this girl and Mama Hen? That would have been hilarious if that was the case, but sadly it doesn't look like it. As for the trailer, I really hope that Gregory is actually alive and that Cassie isn't just gonna find Gregory on a computer screen. That's gonna ruin my day. For any Whovians out there, remember the Asylum of the Daleks, where they think they're gonna save the girl, but it's all a dream. You dreamed it for yourself because the truth was too terrible. Then it's revealed, bam, she's a Dalek. I really don't want that to be the case. I love Gregory as a character. I really hope he's actually alive. And Cassie is called Cassie, as in Cassidy. At this point, guys, part of me just thinks that Scott and Seal will just like to use names over and over again to mess with us. And everyone is saying that this must be ages later, but the building still has water and it still has power. Not just backup power. If the animatronics are still functional, then that means the recharge stations must be 2. So it can't be more than a month, maybe 2. As for the graffiti, I'd like to thank Mr. FNAF once again for saying that it could be Vanny's writing. This means it could be any time after the first game. I'm saying it's like a month or 2. Okay, now something that I was curious about, guys. How do Gregory and Cassie know each other? Gregory, last we saw him, was just a homeless boy on the streets, which that's what I believe. I don't think he's a robot. I think he's just a homeless child who snuck in amongst a big group of kids. So I wondered how Cassie and Gregory would know each other. But then I noticed something. We all know that there are some secret rooms around the Pizzaplex. Some of them are for an adult, as we can see from the adult-sized clothing. But in Kids Cove, the one under the pirate ship is clearly meant to be for a child. There's child-sized clothing, there's a child's shoe, and there's sweets everywhere. You know what else is in there? There's a Roxy mask, a Roxy plushie, and Roxy-themed clothes down there too. And take note, guys, Cassie's nails are green, her bracelet has Roxy colors, and she also has a Roxy walkie-talkie. Everyone wondered if Gregory was living in the Pizzaplex, but was it Cassie living in there? Is she homeless just like Gregory? It would explain how they know each other. It's a possibility. And here's what I think about the Vanny mask. It's clearly the one from the code maze. And looking at the Vanny we got in the games, she doesn't have the same brown markings as the original mask does. I remember some folks said there might be two Vannies, as in the fire escape ending, she falls off the building, then all of a sudden she's back on top of the building in her normal clothes. I didn't believe that theory at first, but knowing that there's two Vanny masks, maybe it could be right. After all, Vanny and Vanessa are voiced by different people. Maybe one is fully devoted to Afton and willing to do what he says, but the other is the true reluctant follower. I have no idea what to expect, guys, but it's gonna be good. Anyway, I hope you all think I have some good ideas. I hope you like and comment. There are things I didn't mention, such as the Mimic, but I don't know enough about him yet. I don't know how much FNAF content I'm gonna do on this channel, but who knows. But why not look around, and if you're interested in my other videos, feel free to subscribe. I don't post content regularly, I only do this when I get a chance to, so don't expect much of me. I am a rank amateur after all. But thanks very much, happy lore hunting, have a nice day.